All right, and we're live. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be going over the biggest myths in the fitness industry that you cannot be listening to, you cannot be believing if you want to see real results. Because let's be honest, there's a lot of bullshit out there from online, social media, influencers that lead people in the wrong direction. When you're following things that are not designed to or for you, or that's just simply bullshit in the first place, it's going to be wasted time, wasted effort, no results, and probably result in a lot of frustration. And none of us want to be in that position, right? We want to avoid that as much as possible. So we're going to be going over, in my opinion, the biggest fitness myths in the industry. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Noah.wick. If you are familiar with me, thanks for tuning back in. Before we get into this, I'm going to apologize if you see the camera slightly shifting between shots. It's because I got to look back to make sure it's recording. I had a video I recorded that was like an hour long, and I found out that I only recorded like a minute of it because my SD card was full. So I'm just making sure every so often that we're still going, that we're still rolling. So the first one being that people say fitness is only physical, right? It's all about looking good, getting the body you want, getting muscles, losing fat. That could not be further from the truth. Fitness builds and takes extreme efforts of discipline, consistency, resilience, mental toughness. All these things go into it that are related to like skills you can build over time and traits that you can develop over a certain amount of time that fitness and going to the gym will teach you. And they can be applied to multiple areas of life, business, relationships, money, health. Like, bro, there's so many things that fitness teaches you, that going to the gym teaches you, that will be so beneficial for your life. It's not just physical. Of course, it's nice that we can go in there and change the way our body looks. It's actually a blessing. It is so huge that we even have the opportunity or the availability to be able to utilize a gym properly in order to create the way we want our body to look. Like, that's a powerful damn thing, but it's not all physical. And I think that's one of the biggest myths that, you know, people tend to believe, because online and social media, all you see is just people looking good and showing their best parts, not their worst or weak parts or what they had to go through to get there. All the battles, all the challenges they had to face to get to where they want to go. It's a journey full of highs and lows. It's not just all for physical things. There's also a lot of mental benefits that can come through it. So just keep that in mind. It's not all physical. Like me, for example, it's affected my mindset and lifestyle so much just from being in the gym. Like I said, it's taught me discipline, consistency, continuous effort, delayed gratification, you know, working so hard for something and not seeing immediate results, but knowing that further down the road, that the upfront work and time and energy and investment you made will pay off. Not getting a quick fix, you know, it's not a quick result by any means. And that can be applied to a lot of areas of life, you know, like business. You're not just going to start a brand new business and expect to be producing tons of income, right? You're not going to be expecting to generate tons of money from it until you've been doing it for so long and you've been consistent with it, where over time, that's the only result that will happen if you stay the course. And so like delayed gratification is one of the biggest ones that I've taken away from it, and it really helps in a lot of areas of my life. It's also helped me dial in my nutrition. It's helped me pick up other good habits that are beneficial to oneself, like reading, cardio, recovery. It's funny because fitness is like a gateway drug to other things and other habits that you can pick up that will benefit your life and your lifestyle and your mindset. So I think it's super powerful. Another one that I know I can think about the top of my head is a lot of people think you have to give up all your favorite foods. You know, the pizza, the chips, the ice cream, the fries, the McDonald's, the Wendy's, I don't know, whatever, Chick-fil-A, you know, the Chinese buffets, all you can eat sushi. You do not by any means have to give up all your favorite foods, but what you want to consider is keeping it in moderation. The amount of food or unhealthy food you're eating just to satisfy your cravings or your taste buds because you love that food and it's so yummy and delicious to you, that's fine, but you got to eat it in moderation. You can't just be ingesting that or consuming that at all times throughout the day, because that's going to hinder your progress, and it's really going to make you question, like, why am I not getting to where I want to go? And it's because the foods you're over consuming. So just make sure you limit them and eat them in moderation, and you'll be fine. There's a rule, I don't personally follow it, but there's an 80-20 rule where if you have 80% of your food and your diets and what you're eating locked in, like pretty healthy, whole, nutrient-dense foods, and the other 20% is just like whatever you want to have, you can make good progress off that. Again, I've never done it myself, but that's something I've heard. A lot of times people say genetics need to be perfect, or genetics play a massive role in attaining a good physique or a good shape or good conditioning. And don't get me wrong, genetics plays a role, but it's not nearly as big of a role as you think. What it's gonna be, just raw genetics, are gonna be consistency, the amount of effort you're putting in, and proper nutrition and recovery. If you are hammering those in, you are gonna beat just raw genetics. You're gonna smoke it out of the water, bro. Like, there's no question about it. Genetics play a role, but they don't play as big of a role as you think. Now, of course, if we're talking pro level, not like just, I'm talking like IFBB pro level, those are the times where genetics come into play more often than just, you know, a gym bro or a gym rat, because the proportions are different, and depending on which class or which division you're looking into, you need certain proportions in order to get the look that the judges are looking for. So that's when genetics will play a bigger role than not. But like I said, consistency, intensity, training, nutrition, and recovery are all gonna be like just raw genetics most of the time. I would encourage you guys not to use genetics as an excuse, and don't let that hold you back or scare you from going after the body you want, because it is totally possible. Your genetics do not have to be a 10 out of 10. Just take my word for it. On top of that, you know, when I was talking about influencers, the way they post workouts, and, you know, a lot of people are like, follow this workout to get X result, do this bicep variation to get Y result, do this leg movement to get Z result. And it's like, everyone's different, bro. Like, a program or a workout or a specific movement, for one, has to be comfortable to you. You got to enjoy doing it, or else you're going to struggle to do it in the first place. And for two, like, not everyone's going to benefit the same from it as you do, right? We all have different DNA. We all have a different genetic makeup. Someone might respond better and get a better stimulus response to one movement than someone else might. And that's why I myself never have posted my exact workouts, because for one, anyone can just look on Google or YouTube or whatever they want to look on to find out a workout program. But unless it's tailored to you and your goals, you should not be following it expecting to get the results that that person does when they implement that routine. You can't expect to get the results they get following it, because that's tailored to them, specifically them. You got to get a program tailored specifically to you if you want to progress faster and see the results you want. So don't be following workouts blindly off Instagram or YouTube or from your favorite influencer or from professionals by any means, because that's tailored to them. They have certain goals that they want to reach, and those plans that are tailored to them help them reach those goals with precision. What about lifting weights makes you bulky, right? Lifting weights does not make you bulky, bro. Especially the people that say that, number one, don't lift weights. And if they do, it is for a very short period of time. And I'll tell you what, back to delayed gratification, it takes mad amount of time to put on muscle and get bulky, like they say. It doesn't make you bulky, bro. It builds muscle. And if you're eating right, you're recovering right, you're not gonna get bulky. But if you're eating like junk, you get poor sleep, I mean, yeah, the muscle is gonna come with fat and you might look huskier or chunkier, but by no means does it make you bulky. Building muscle takes years of consistent work and discipline. It's not some quick result or quick thing that comes your way after putting in short amount of effort and work and time. That's just not how it happens. You guys know this by now. A lot of people avoid weight training or weightlifting or bodybuilding because they fear they're gonna get too big. But bro, that takes so long. I've been lifting for, let's see, I think I started when I was like 18, 19, and I'm 26 now, so like 7 to 8 years I've been lifting. Is that right? My math is kind of bad. Yeah, 7 to 8 years I've been lifting, and I'm not even that huge. You know, I feel good. Like, I feel like I look decent, but I'm not bulky by any means. I'm not super large. I'm not extra large. Dude, there's a certain like potential that you can hit naturally with your genetics. Just one person can only get so big and so bulky and build so much muscle naturally, right? And it is a long journey, a very, very long journey. And the funny part is, like, your first couple years are gonna be your biggest difference in the shortest amount of time, because you're gonna get newbie gains because your muscle is not used or has never experienced the resistance training that you're now implementing. So in the first couple years, you're gonna notice the biggest difference versus the last couple. Like, I think in my first 3 to 4 years, I was relatively the same size as I am now. Of course, I've grown a little bit, and I've been able to do like body recomposition and figure out what I need to do to look the way I want. Yes, sure, but like my size has relatively stayed pretty stable. But If not, you know, of course it's went up a little bit, but not much. And then another thing you cannot do, it is impossible. You can't listen to the people that say you can spot reduce fat, okay? You cannot spot reduce fat. Fat loss is completely systemic, which means it's the entire system is losing fat. You can't just pick where you want to lose fat. A big misconception, and a lot of people do this thinking it's gonna work, which it never does because it's impossible. A lot of people do crunches thinking that they're gonna get abdominals and they're gonna crush and melt away the fat on their midsection. That is so far from the truth, okay? What's gonna make you lose fat is healthy eating, high intensity training, and proper recovery, proper nutrition, proper sleep. All that stuff is gonna make your fat loss go much quicker. And like a lot of people think that hours on the treadmill is gonna make them lose fat. I mean, it can, but what's gonna help speed that up even more is if you're doing cardio and weight training, because when you're building muscle and you're sweating and going through that high resistance training, you're actually going to burn more calories than you would if you just did cardio. And on top of that, you eat right, you sleep right, and you're just going to have phenomenal results. So no, you cannot spot reduce fat, and no, cardio does not burn more fat than weight training does. That is another myth. Another thing a lot of people say or think that are led false to believe is that you need to train every single day to see good results, and that could not be further from the truth. Guys, rest and recovery is where the muscle grows. After you train it and break it down, after your gym session, like, it's not growing right away, okay? You're not growing your muscle and getting bigger while you're in the gym. You're growing while you're recovering and while you're resting. Recovery meaning you're getting a full 7 to 8 hours or more of sleep per night. You are utilizing rest days properly, you know, days where you're not going to the gym. My rest days consist of doing active light cardio. I'm making sure I at least hit my 12,000 steps so I can stay on top of my goal and still burn calories throughout the day. But my rest days, when I'm not supposed to go to the gym, I don't go to the gym, because if you're following that advice that you gotta go every single day to see good results, and you're going 7 days out of the week, dude, I can tell you, if it was you doing that versus someone new who's only going 5 days out of the week, and you both train with the same intensity, you both have the same exact diet, the same routine for recovery, nutrition, training, but you're going 7 days out of the week and the other person's going 5, he or she is going to see more results quicker than you are, because you're going every single day. Your body has no time to rebuild the broken down muscle tissue, okay? Your body has no time to recover. You're overdoing it, and you're gonna burn yourself, grind yourself down to the ground, while the person who's utilizing at least 2 rest days out of the week is giving them time to rebuild, to recover. And so when they go back into the gym, they're feeling a little fresh, a little new, and that muscle had time to rebuild, so now they can go tear it down again, all right? Another thing a lot of people think is that muscle turns into fat when you quit training. That is another thing that could be not any more further from the truth. Muscle and fat are 2 completely separate, different tissues in the body. One does not convert into the other once you stop training. That's just impossible. Now, what can happen, you can gain fat and lose muscle if you stop training and your recovery and your diet are shit. But one can simply not convert into the other. That is just physically impossible. People tend to believe that you need supplements. It's funny I say it like that because I made an Instagram reel on this the other day. If you don't follow me on Instagram, go check me out at noah.wick. Drop me a follow, shoot me a DM, we'll chop it up. But a lot of people think you need supplements to make real gains. It is called a supplement for a reason. It's to supplement a healthy lifestyle. And they are not required by any means. They're totally optional. But you got to focus in on the foundation, the principles, the main fundamentals first, which is training, nutrition, recovery, all just consistently. You know, that's going to make the biggest difference. And if you have those locked in, then you can consider supplements, but they're not going to make the biggest difference. Of course, they'll help and supplement and support that lifestyle. But if you're like, those 3 fundamentals are not locked in and they're kind of trash all over the place, I won't even consider any supplements at all, because it's not going to help much. What I take whey protein, I take creatine, and I take branched chain amino acids. Only those 3 supplements. Oh, and pre-workout too. Only 4 supplements I take. I used to take a lot more back in the day, but now I just use the ones that I think are most beneficial to me, which is going to be whey, creatine, branched chain amino acids, and again, pre-workout. Something else, a lot of people, especially people that aren't in the gym very often, tend to believe is that the scale is the ultimate measure of progress. That's another false thing you got to quit believing or listening to if you've constantly been fed and told that, because the scale often fluctuates. So much times as it fluctuates. Like, I remember in prep when I was heading into my show that I won, by the way, when I was in peak week, my weight, not even just in peak week, like throughout the whole prep, I would be eating and training in a way and doing my cardio in a way where you'd expect the scale to drop. But some days I'd be surprised where it shot up, but I looked better in the mirror. The mirror is going to be a better measure of judgment than your scale is, okay? Weight tends to fluctuate very often. It's totally normal to see your weight go up or go down if you expected vice versa. It's just like a long trend over time. You're going to see it either go up or down, whatever you're shooting for, and if you're doing it correctly. It's kind of like the stock market. Historically, it goes up, but there's days where it crashes and then it jumps back up and goes, it's kind of like that. That's the analogy I'd throw out there for it. Progress photos, tracking your lifts, like making sure your strength's going up, and judging or feeling the way your clothes fit, if they're tighter or looser. Those are going to be better measurements of judgment. Those are going to be better measuring tools than your weight scale is going to be, than your body scale is going to be, because the scale very often fluctuates. It is totally normal, so don't be alarmed if you're like, oh my gosh, it's bigger, but I was doing everything right, the number's bigger on the scale. Totally normal, man, no worries. More is always better. I've heard that a lot. Like, I went back to rest days. More is not always better. You need to recover. That's when your body's going to grow. So no, more is not always better. There's also a principle called overtraining, which again is back to the example of whoever was working out 7 days per week. That is overtraining. Your body needs time to rest and recover and rebuild the muscle tissue that you broke down. So no, more is not better all the time. In some cases it can be, but not the way people say it and generalize it as. Like, more volume, more sets, more reps are not always better, because what's going to crush that higher volume, higher intensity is going to be actual quality. Okay, it's always quality over quantity. So no, more is not better. Better is better. And then some people believe that you need to feel sore, or you need to be sore for it to work. I've heard that a couple times. That's false too. Of course, sometimes being sore is a good indicator that you had a good lift or a good workout, but soreness, especially very often, can mean that you have damaged your muscle, that there's muscle damage. So no, sore does not always mean good by any means, but it can be an indicator that you had a good lift. But if it's like consistent every single day, especially in one singular or particular area, you might have damaged the muscle. So soreness can mean or be two different ways. Like, if you're someone who chases soreness, like you want to leave feeling sore, that's probably not a good thing, because then you're probably exerting too much energy in trying to, it's literally like you trying to damage your muscle tissue. That's like the ones I could just think of. I know this was like a quicker video than normal and not as in-depth or detailed, but it's something I wanted to go over. And if there's one thing you can take away from this, stop listening to the bullshit that the internet, the social media, and your favorite influencer feeds you, okay? Stop chasing the shortcuts. Stop chasing the magic solutions. Stop following their regimen because it's theirs. You need one tailored specifically to you. Master the basics, stay consistent, and just apply the right mindset, and you will notice far better results and actually level up your physique, rather than listening to these myths that you might have been told or might have been led to believe falsely. So if you believed any of these beforehand, comment below which ones, and if you feel like there's any I missed out on, feel free to drop those in the comments below as well. Hope you guys found this video a little helpful. If you did, give it a thumbs up, and then go follow my Instagram at noah.wick. I do a lot of content on there too. But yeah, it's been real. Today's Thursday. I will be making another video either tomorrow or over the weekend. So have a good weekend. Enjoy the weather if it's warm near you. And like always, God bless you.